Right now at 6, another round of fatal violence on downtown Portland streets.
It makes me sad, but it's not shocking.
Plus, spring-like weather sends hikers flocking to the Gorge, with several running into trouble.
People, I don't think, realize that these trails up here are hardcore hiking trails.
And high schoolers commit to helping new arrivals.
We really want to do as much as we can to help ease some of that.
How local teens are getting involved when it comes to refugees and immigrants and showing they care.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. We are following up at 6 on several violent crimes on downtown Portland streets. It started with a deadly stabbing on the Steel Bridge Friday. Then on Sunday, one man was shot and killed and another was stabbed. Thomas Schultz is live outside the Central Library near the location of that deadly shooting. Thomas, you've been talking with people downtown. What are they telling you?
Yeah, well, downtown, David, here by the Central Library, people I spoke with are shocked that something like this would happen. And for some, this is an area where they spend much of their time.
And I just was like shocked.
Joseph Scott is a homeless Portland resident who spends his days here, outside the Central Library.
I did hear somebody say that they thought it was like fireworks going off.
Just feet away from where Portland police say a man died after a shooting Sunday night.
It's overwhelming. It's kind of scary that, it would happen so close to where I commute every day.
Police haven't yet released the name of the man who died, but if his death is ruled a homicide, it would be the 18th in Portland this year. Still, despite the shooting, Scott says he feels comfortable in the Rose City.
All around, I think Portland's a pretty safe place,
At least most of it.
Now, if you go down to Old Town at night, that might be a little different,
Down to Old Town, where a man was stabbed early Sunday morning. Police say the stabbing happened after a scuffle between two groups.
It's scary. It's always scary to hear of things like that.
Darlene Urban Garrett works in Old Town, and she says crime is becoming more common.
I don't know what to say. It's like not an uncommon thing to see ambulances and fire trucks and police every day.
The reason?
I think drugs are the underlying cause of so much that's going on here in the city.
Now, police have not said whether drugs played a factor in either incident, though to Urban Garrett, it's why she's no longer surprised by violence so close to work.
It makes me sad, but it's not shocking.
And in that Old Town stabbing, there was an arrest. 21-year-old Yamir Funes Cruz was arrested. Now in a different stabbing on Friday, a fatal one on the Steel Bridge. A suspect was arrested, though they have recently been released after no probable cause was found. And as for this shooting, where a man died down here by the Central Library, that investigation is continuing. David?
Thanks, Thomas. Appreciate you keeping track of it and all the updates tonight. In your headlines this evening, the man who stabbed two teenagers in a racially motivated attack on a MAX train last year has now been sentenced to 18 years in prison. Adrian Cummins pleaded guilty to 4 charges, including 1 count of attempted murder. The stabbing was back in September on a MAX train in southeast Portland. 2 17-year-old boys, both black, were riding the train when Cummins yelled the N-word at them, then attacked them. According to prosecutors, one of the teens was stabbed in the arm. The other, named Damien, was stabbed in the chest. The knife nicked his heart. Doctors had to open his chest for surgery. He has since recovered. A man who was convicted of killing 3 of his neighbors in northeast Portland more than 3 years ago will now be spending the rest of his life behind bars. Today, a judge handed down 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole to 62-year-old Brett Pruitt. In July 2020, police found Tashia Cobb, her fiancé Elmer Hughes, and their friend Lawrence Murphy shot to death at a home on Northeast 122nd. Pruitt was arrested the next day. Prosecutors say he was on a multi-day meth binge without sleep and falsely accuses neighbors of owing him rent. This evening, a cyclist is in the hospital with serious injuries after he was hit by a van in Washington County. This was just after 11 this morning near Aloha at the intersection of Southwest 185th and Bainey Road. Police say the cyclist is an adult. The driver stayed on the scene and cooperated with investigators. No word yet on the cause. Portland police say they have recovered 8 stolen vehicles in a multi-agency mission that targeted southeast Portland last week. The drivers of 5 of those stolen vehicles ran from police, authorities say. 4 of them were taken into custody. PPB crediting the Facebook group PDX Stolen Cars with helping them find 3 more vehicles. Now, last week's mission also tracked down and arrested an armed robbery suspect out of Gresham, recovering a gun authorities say was thrown from the car. And the nationwide fabric and crafts chain known as Jo-Ann has filed for bankruptcy. Though the company says its restructuring will not lead to store closures. Jo-Ann has more than 800 stores across the country, including 8 in the Portland metro. The company saw a boom in business during the pandemic when people were spending time at home on hobbies, but has since seen declining revenues. Matt?
Thanks, David. What a day around the Northwest. There's Mount Hood. Beautiful white snow, clear blue sky, and really warm temperatures. Look at this, up at 6,000 feet, Timberline Lodge, Mount Hood National Forest, 58 degrees. You know where it's a lot cooler? Down at sea level at the Oregon coast. This is Newport, socked in with low cloud again. It's 6 degrees cooler than it is up at Timberline. That is what you call a marine inversion, where you get the cool marine air down low, but still much warmer air as you go up in elevation. And then, of course, the valleys. Boy, record highs all over the place. Portland yesterday tied the record at 76. Today, 76 again. That's a new record by 5 degrees. Hillsborough, a new record today. McMinnville tied its record set 98 years ago in 1926, and then Troutdale hit 77 today, breaking the old record by 10 degrees, and that was set on this date last year. So some very impressive temperatures around the region right now, and you know what? It was our second longest streak of consecutive 70-degree days in the month of March in Portland with 5. But it comes to an end after that because rain returns on Wednesday. It'll be light at first. We'll pick up as the week goes on. Spring begins tomorrow night at 8:06, so we've got another 24 hours, a little bit more than that, of winter left, and it's going to be really great weather. David?
Looking forward to that. Thank you, Matt. You know what? Speaking of the mountain that Matt just mentioned, it's attracting climbers because of the sunshine, also creating some dangerous conditions. We want to tell you about a rescue Saturday night. In the afternoon, a 43-year-old woman was descending the south side route when a chunk of ice suddenly gave way, hit her, and knocked her partially down the mountain. She could not move. Other climbers kept her warm with their own gear until rescuers arrived. It took about 11 hours to get her down to an ambulance at the Timberline parking lot. We're working right now to get an update on her condition. Portland Mountain Rescue now urging climbers to start early in the day, to be off the upper mountain by the afternoon. That is when things warm up, when ice and rock falls are more likely. Well, meanwhile, hikers in the Columbia River Gorge have also come across some challenging conditions. In at least one case that we know of, it appears that has proved fatal. Joe Ranieri's live in Northwest Portland. Joe, it is so beautiful out. It seems a few folks were just caught off guard here.
Yeah, exactly right. Over the weekend, a lot of people were expecting to see sunny and warm conditions like they were seeing in the metro area carry up throughout the Columbia River Gorge. While it was sunny, the conditions up there look a little different. Some trails are covered in snow, and some hikers saw firsthand how dangerous it can be.
The last few days of winter have been feeling anything like but winter, with sunshine and record-breaking temperatures. But it has gotten some people in trouble who have been hiking through the Columbia River Gorge.
Slipping and sliding down loose dirt and grabbing onto thorny vines just to hold ourselves up. It was pretty touchy, and I'm impressed that the 2 hikers made it out the same way.
Carl Worth is with Clackamas County Search and Rescue. He spent the weekend helping look for 2 women who got stuck on a cliff while hiking along Oneata Trailhead.
We were able to get a general location, but not very precise. Gresham Police Department brought out their drones, and with the use of their drones, we were able to locate the 2 women.
Those 2 women were able to eventually walk out on their own, but sadly, over the weekend, 63-year-old Tarina Chapman was found dead at the bottom of a cliff near Horsetail Falls. She was reported missing Friday night. The conditions in the gorge right now are completely different from the valley.
There's still snow and ice on the ground, and the sun comes out, it gets really warm in the city. It's 70 degrees, 72 degrees, and you come out and take a hike up in the mountains, and people don't realize that it's still cold up in the mountains.
As more people start recreating outdoors, hikers need to be prepared for anything, including snow and freezing temperatures.
You're going up into the gorge and you start running into snow patches pretty quick. It's time to just turn back.
Mark Morford with Portland Mountain Rescue says it's also important to dress for the conditions.
Extra layers is huge because hypothermia sets in right away when you're sweaty and you stop on warm days. Doesn't have to get very cold for hypothermia, so extra layers.
Even though it's warm down in the valley, doesn't mean it's warm along the trails in the gorge.
David, great advice from Mark, who you just heard there from. And again, a couple other good tips for if you're going to be recreating on some area trails, maybe it's in Forest Park or throughout the Columbia River Gorge. Pack some extra items. Those items could include anything from extra water, extra food, and of course, extra clothes. And don't forget the flashlights and the headlamps. You might go on a hike in the afternoon, but depending on what you see, those hikes could go a little bit longer and you potentially could lose a little bit of daylight. So make sure you are prepared as you head out to area trails over the next couple of weeks and of course the next couple of months. David, back to you.
Yeah, it never hurts, including telling somebody where you're going and when to expect you back, right? Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that.